Meet Tyrius, once a paladin and inquisitor of the Solar Empire. Tyrius fled his homeland after uncovering a terrible secret of his nation's ruler. This led to the end of his allegiance to his nation and losing the life he once had. Heading to the Eastern Freelands, angry and disillusioned, Tyrius took up his blade as a mercenary, spending many years as a hired sword, turning his back on his former god's divinity. In his travels, he came across a cave, once part of a temple to a god of truth and justice. It was here he came across the teachings of Homvor, a god believed slain during the Great Shattering. Tyrius now pledges his life not to a god, but an ideal, helping those in need and channeling the lessons of Homvor to protect those who cannot protect themselves and to aid the peoples of Kratoria. Welcome to the Kratorian Chronicles. Congratulations. You took on a motherfucking chimera. Tyrius, against all odds, proved himself to the rest of the gladiator camp. No one thought the veteran had it in him, except for maybe Newix. Saw something behind those deep blue eyes. Had seen many, many years of battle. Calavene, a little bit shocked as well. How was Calavene feeling through all of that?
Surprised. Pretty happy though. Pretty impressed.
We survived.
Yeah.
It's a good start. You went back to the camp. As usual, it was a good night. It was a good evening. Newix always blesses his gladiators with rewards in the form of ale, women, feasting, whatnot. Kind of a way to keep them inspired, one step closer to their freedom. Greytox took you both aside and informed you that you were both given, along with Tristalan, a unique task in the following week. I just noticed in the camera I got a big old dent in my head. Awesome. That was probably all those years on the mines when I wasn't wearing my helmet and smacking into like metal scaff tube. But anyway, looked like a James Bond villain. But yeah, I digress. I was just had a pure vanity moment. I'm like, what the fuck?
Is that a dent?
Greytox filled you in that you could see it as a way of when you get into Newix's graces, he tends to reward and incentivize cooperation. Being a former champion, Newix, yes, does use his gladiators for his own ends, obviously, profit. To your guys' limited understanding of the Slavers Sanctum, the kind of, I would say, desert metropolis that you reside within, that he has somewhat of a firm foothold in that society. And he actually has a bit of pull from the conversations you've had with Greytox and other gladiators over time. And many, many gladiators have gotten their freedom and either stayed in the Slavers Sanctums to pursue their own endeavours or gone back to where they've come from or whatever. It's pretty standard fare at this point, even for you, Tyrius. You're starting to see over the coming few days the cliques, the personalities of certain gladiators and the groups that they reside in. And there's almost a nostalgic feeling to your days back in the Solarian Empire. You wake up, you do your drills. It almost takes you back to being a young cadet. You know, on your way to being part of the Radiant Blade.
Yeah.
It gets to about a week later. We're sitting at about 5th day. Greytox comes to both of your quarters. He just nods at you, Calavene. It's time. Newix is requesting us to come with him to a business transaction within the Slavers Sanctum. Same for you too, Tyrius. He collects you and Tristalan, and you three make your way to the gate. The gate opens. You make your way through, and there's a cart. This one...
Are we armed? Or are we just as normal?
Just normal.
Okay.
At this time. You just got your standard, kind of, what would be the best word for it? The clothes that you guys wear in the gladiator, when you're in the actual gladiator camp, is almost like tattered shirts and shorts, or whatever, or shirtless, whatever you'd like. It is hot. A lot of gladiators like to work on their tan, put it that way. You come to somewhat more of a lavish cart this time. Newix already sitting inside. A couple of donkeys at the front. It's good to see you all. I'll be using your services for something a little bit different this afternoon. You'll be going into the Slavers Sanctum to an establishment owned by a, you could say, business rival of mine, known as the Desert Lotus. I will outfit you with weapons, as you will be my personal escort. Calavene's eyes kind of glaze over a little bit as it takes him a moment to click on to what's going on here.
Sorry.
Reality.
All good, man. All good.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to change my settings so that it's just that my phone thinks that it's staying on, but like when the screen, automatic screen turn off happens, it just cancels everything.
Not a problem.
So it should be good now.
We will make a slight detour to the arena, and you can get yourself kitted out with any weapons that you like. You'll be rewarded for your efforts, should the need arise. You, Glenn, this particular so-called businessman here in the Sanctum, has had his eye on my arena for some time. He prides himself on being smarter than everybody else, and that arrogance is his downfall. If anything, today, you will be nothing but muscle there to intimidate and kind of dissuade him from making any moves. The Slavers Sanctum is lawless when it comes to business, and getting blood on your blade is standard fare. The cart goes to the arena. Greytox leads you to the armory, where all of your personal belongings are, or whatever you would like. Greytox, he's already kitted up. He has the fluffy on his shoulder, Calavene, that you're quite familiar with at this moment. And he has his obsidian club, that dragon fang, kind of resting in the cart already. Yeah, Calavene's very familiar. I'm sure you can tell Tyrius some tales one day by a campfire. You are free to choose whatever weaponry you like. All standard martial weapons are on display, as usual, and any kind of armor you would like.
Is chainmail the highest, or is there anything higher?
Chainmail is the highest.
Heaviest, okay. I'll grab some chainmail, and a shield, and a longsword.
Done.
I just go with my standard leathers,
Mm-hmm.
the great sword,
Mm-hmm.
and a few throwing knives. 3. It's like I can equip. Yeah.
Again, you reach into your personal belongings and your broken smile is sitting in the long chest. You can see your reflection, your own yellow eyes caught in the blade like a mirror. Roll me a wisdom check, please.
Darn this sword.
Wait,
You're making me scared, Leroy. I rolled a 6. Fuck.
You have this
6 all up.
You have this thought flash through your mind. Well, it is rather intimidating. I may as well take it. And you
Leroy.
Yes.
So, can Tyrius, as he observes this, grab hold of the young man and like grab and whisper into his ear, like, remember, blood magic always comes with a cost. And I can roll something, maybe a persuasion check?
I tell you what. Yeah, I tell you what. What would this situation be? Tell you what. Roll me a roll-off between Calavene and Tyrius on a persuasion check.
Okay.
All right. So yeah, I grab you and I'm like, young warrior, the blood magic always comes with a cost. Remember. I
roll an 18.
And I roll a 23.
But why shouldn't I use it?
Son, I've been around much longer than you, and I've seen far greater people than you fall to the seduction of infernal magic. Trust me, the cost is not worth what you will pay.
And as I'm getting close to grabbing it, I kind of shake out of it. I go, I know.
You place the blade back, and again, there's almost that magnetic feeling that it's almost as if when your hand opens, it lays against the openness of your palm, but for a second and falls.
Oh, Leroy, you know how I'm fluent in Infernal? Because that was one of the languages I studied. So as he drops it, I basically just utter in Infernal to the blade, like back from where you came. But I say it in Infernal. So it's like, Isaac Rosa.
I'm going to get I'm going to get Tyrius to roll me a perception check.
Okay. 9.
You thought you saw something, but as you look closely at the blade, you see nothing but your own reflection in the black obsidian glass-like surface and the jagged edges. Also,
I kind of pull back and stand up, and I turn to Tyrius and thank you, Tyrius. There's when we're finished with this task, I think there's a few things I should share with you if we're going to be partners.
Absolutely.
We'll get the job done.
Yes, and we'll talk about this blade and whether it's worth the risk of having it continue on with us.
We continue on.
Okay, ladies, let's go. You make your way into the Slavers Sanctum. As Greytok steps out of this nice kind of enclosed cart, Tristalan with you as well, kind of just following suit, watching his P's and Q's. The cart actually rocks a little bit just with the sheer weight of the Goliath stepping out into the street. This is the first taste of civilization that hasn't been the arena for several months, Calavene. You see people busying themselves, a lot of them wearing robes, a lot of, protective gear from the sun. A lot of clothes that are cooling. You can see some market stalls in the distance, but where you are, there is palm trees. And you look across the street on the other side, there's a large oasis that the both of you would have seen coming in originally. A lot of palm trees and villas and other kinds of buildings, even a jetty and a bridge that leads to the center of the oasis. It looks like there's some kind of retreat in the center. Almost like a park for a lot of the civilians of the city. You see a large tavern-like establishment made of sandstone. It towers over the surrounding villas of this oasis in the center of the Slavers Sanctum. A beautiful purple stained glass sign hangs above the main entrance, calling itself the Purple Lotus. The tavern's main room is crowded. Rhythmic music plays as Greytox kind of leads you in to the main entrance. Small bells and maraca-like instruments are all played by beautiful women, the women of all races, adorned with very little clothing. People in the crowd cheer. Strong smells foreign to you both invade your nostrils. It's strange, but welcoming. Greytox continues to lead you. Then followed by Nuix, Tristalan, Calavene, and Tyrius in the rear. And there's murmurs in the crowd. You start to see patrons bow at Nuix. And as Greytox walks into the center of this large tavern bar area, the crowd parts like a sea in front of you. You get the impression that Nuix and Greytox are very well known in this city. And many of what look like maybe businessmen from lounges and booths kind of nod and bow down towards Nuix. Nuix makes eye contact with nobody. You continue and make your way across the tavern to the back wall. Two intimidating guards stand fully kitted with leather armor and large wooden shields with a purple lotus as its insignia. They block the entrance to an outside courtyard. Seeing Greytox, they both bow and uncross their large metal-tipped spears to allow passage. You make your way back outside to a large courtyard, the air cool compared to the city street outside. A stunning water fountain catches your eye in the center of this large courtyard, and there's a small pool around it, covered in the namesake of the establishment. Many purple lotus-like flowers float on the reflective surface of the pool. The entire courtyard is a paradise of exotic plants, the sandstone walls and pillars covered in lush creeper and ivory. Many patrons, you consider to probably be VIPs, lounge around on these very, very lavish rugs and pillows, drinking, being merry, just banded all over the place. Each of these lounge areas have several servants waiting obediently for any command. As you make your way towards a large fountain, a large exotic peacock sits on a stand and has a faint song humming from it within that just provides a very relaxing tone, putting the whole area into a sense of ease and relaxation. Greytox kind of halts. Newix looks up at the Goliath and nods. In the back of the courtyard, in its own kind of raised, stepped area, you see another one of these lounges. Newix makes his way there. Greytox turns to you three. Okay. Just stand here and keep watch. Look for anything suspicious. Newix makes his way to the back of the courtyard. That's Euglin, over there. You see a portly man. He has a desert tan, and he's heavily adorned in coloured silks of purples and yellows and greens, and embroidery of very high quality. He has jewels on his rings, and he's a very, very stark contrast to Newix's very basic attire. Newix is extremely wealthy, but he doesn't show it. He wears some fine silks, but they're more for purpose than anything else. By Euglin's side, you see a woman with a robe over her head, her face tattooed. To both of you, very unfamiliar designs. And standing by her, she feeds a hyena that cackles with delight as she throws a bone to it, letting out that yipping noise that a hyena does. Tyrius.
Well, I'd like to just use my divine sense to get an idea of if there's anything, otherworldly, fiendish, evil in a sense beyond normally, obviously, like we're in shades of gray with this area, but I just want to do a divine sense. Within 60 feet around me and see what I feel.
Absolutely. You have your eyes facing on your mission, you could say.
Yeah.
Keeping an eye on this sketchy businessman, as Newix put it. You look around and you see other patrons enjoying themselves. Newix at this point has just made his way to Euglin, and they both bow very customarily. You can see there's tension between the two. And it's at that moment, Calavene, you feel this pulse go through you very gently. Yes, you do feel an infernal presence to the young man beside you, being Calavene.
Okay. Right.
That makes sense to you, of course.
Yeah.
He does have infernal blood.
Right.
There's just a lot of people, and that radar of divine energy kind of goes through, and time slows a little bit as you focus on the world around you. Your hair stands up on the back of your neck. You have a flash as if you're back on the shores of Gortide yet again. You feel, probably about 40 feet from the direction that you've come from, on the other side of the courtyard, a presence, as if the radar comes back, fills you with dread. You can't help but turn your body to the direction directly behind you, and you see a hooded individual making his way towards you very slowly, walking very casually, his face obscured and quite tall.
Do I sense this as well?
I hit Calavene. Is he next to me? He's next to me, right?
Yes.
Where we're standing. I hit him and I say, Calavene. And I point directly at the person walking. I say, something is not right with that one. I think we should investigate.
I turn and look, and I see the hooded figure. I'd like to do a perception check.
He's probably about 40 feet away at this point, and he's walking in your direction, and he's stopped in his tracks as he's felt. It feels like he's felt your divine energy searching. You hear a cry of pain back towards Newix, and you see Greytox about to move forward. Newix, Calavene, you quickly can't help but turn and look back towards your master as he takes a few steps backwards with a blade buried into him. The large... He's kind of staggering. He's still alive. Blood pours from the wound. And you hear the portly man, Euglin, yell out, "I upheld my end of the bargain, devil. They are yours. Kill them." And as at that moment, Greytox begins to do that large lumbering motion that you've seen many times before, Calavene, towards his business partner, towards Newix. At that moment, stone talons come out of the ground and wrap around Greytox's feet. The woman with the tattoos on her face unleash a large orange blast from her body that hurtle towards Greytox. Greytox is hit with the blast. Sand then erupts like a tornado, creating a sand wall. You can no longer see Newix. You can no longer see Greytox as this wall of sand comes up. Almost like a desert storm. Patrons of the tavern stand and start screaming. Make me a quick perception check, both of you.
7.
20 all up.
Calavene, you noticed at first many of these, you could say VIPs or businessmen or people enjoying the tavern, begin to flee towards that one exit. Many of them bumping into that hooded individual that has his eyes locked on you, Calavene. But you also notice, as many of these patrons file out of the venue, many stay standing where they are. Their eyes locked on you, Tyrius, and Tristalan. The hooded individual stands there, silently. You see a large vulture swoop in and land on his shoulder. Calavene,
I know you.
This creature is familiar. As it shimmers, it reveals a red, scaled imp standing on the hooded figure's shoulders. Small horns coming back. Its red infernal eyes also locked on you. You feel in your chest, Calavene, the hum of the mark. You hear a hiss from the cloaked individual. Big Red did a good job of hiding you, boy. That was his last mistake. Now, where is Broken Smile?
I turn to Tyrius and I say, "This is what I was meant to tell you before. I've been tracked.
Broken Smile.
The blade. They're after it. This is just one."
Calavene, son of Kratorian, I am here to take back Broken Smile. Give it to me, or I will rip the truth from your soul. It's at that moment the robes around this creature explode. Revealing ivory bone. Large, expansive wings open up above this devil-like creature. The desert sun reflecting off of the polished ivory bone like an exoskeleton. A skull of white glistens in the sunlight. Deep eye sockets hold red glowing eyes. You both hear a large thud. Again,
could I make like a perception check to know if I or a history check if I recognize what type of infernal creature this is, or if I'm familiar with it?
No roll needed for Tyrius.
Okay.
You hear a large thud against the packed sandstone as a large 10-foot tail coils and slides at the end. And at the end of this tail, a large bone barb that kind of almost has a snake-like motion behind his head that's secreting this kind of green liquid. Tyrius, you know these entities all too well. They are known as bone devils. And they, from your experience, are not to be taken lightly. And they are, you could say, rated as a greater devil.
Okay. So I would understand the danger this, like that. I would know not to try to attack this. That I would probably be killed. Like it's
a good question to ask. They are not indestructible.
Yeah.
You yourself have heard from paladins of the Radiant Blade that these types of devils in particular tend to make up elite squads or trackers and scouts due to their durability and ability to take on multiple combatants at once. Pit fiends tend to use them as either personal bodyguards or trusted elite units. And you know immediately, due to your wealth of experience of being an ex-Solarian, that this one is definitely of the tracker variety, hence the imp on its shoulder that's used to survey and inform and take on polymorphic ability. You only felt one with your divine sense as well.
Yeah. So I blurt out. So while he's saying that, I say in Infernal. So I'm like, I'm like, Bone Devil, why do you seek this broken smile?
It is no concern of yours, Solarian. He knows you. He feels you.
I turn to Tyrius and I quickly say, if they get a hold of that sword, I know that they're going to do something terrible.
There isn't enough time to discuss how or why we're in this situation, but I think there's only one way forward.
Tristalan,
I have your back if you have mine.
Tristalan stands in wonder. You can't help but feel he's never encountered a creature like this. Well, if you two feel confident to, and he has like his facade of confidence is cracking at this moment. I'm happy to take on the riffraff to the left and the right, and he pulls his bow out, and he aims at one of the many what look like hired thugs.
So Leroy, I have this spell called Mind Thrust. It's one of the psychic ones we discussed.
Yes.
So the idea of it, I just want to read it out to you. It's, action time, 90 feet range. You thrust a lance of psychic disruption into the mind of one creature you can see within range. The target must make an intelligence saving throw. On a failed save, the target takes 3d6 psychic damage, and it can't take a reaction until the end of its next turn. Moreover, on its next turn, it must choose whether it gets a move, an action, or a bonus action. It gets only one of the three. If it successfully saves, it just takes half damage and doesn't suffer any of the other stuff. So what I would like to do is, after he says that, I turn back, and in Infernal I say, I am making it my concern. And then I want to cast this Mind Thrust at the Bone Devil.
Go for it.
Okay. So so I turn back and I'm like, Jacques Duc, I am making it my concern. And then my eye Calavene kind of sees the glow under the eye patch, as well as my visible eye, and then I throw it at him. So the save is 16.
Copy that. One moment. Fails. 13.
Okay. All right, so it's a total of 10 points of damage, and then how do we want to play the not being able to take a reaction until the end of its next turn? So, like, maybe that first turn...
Oh, no, you basically chose to engage, which I'm allowing Tyrius to get that one shot off.
Yeah.
And we're about to roll for initiative.
Awesome, okay.
On that note...
Yeah.
He takes this psychic damage and holds his mind. Calavene, you are a fool like your father was. And Solarian, I will enjoy eating your soul. Roll initiative.
13.
8.
15. Tyrius, you know that bone devils are no joke, but not immortal, not indestructible. But you may want to brace for impact.
Yeah.
I will be putting the imp in with him. Now, Tyrius, due to your understanding and education and fighting on the front lines yourself in your younger years, I will get you to roll me a history check as memories flush back in again.
3.
Look, you know that they have a resistance to normal weaponry. You just know that.
Yeah.
And the imp, you've dealt with many of these. Some are strong, some are weak. You have a feeling if it's part of a recon unit, it probably has some durability. On that note, the Bone Devil comes at you, Calavene. For a multi-attack, you see this large creature pivot on one foot, lean down, and just with its wings flap back and just like a spear shoots at you. With its hands out and its tail behind him, coming straight at you. At that moment, the imp just kind of jumps up and stays in place. Hey, CJ?
17.
Okay. This will be interesting.
Calavene, what weapons do you have on you?
greatsword, throwing knives, and the throwing axe. It's the one that's what I'm usually kitted with.
They all just regular?
Yeah, they're all just martial weapons. However, I do have 2 spells, but I can only use one of them while I'm in enrage, so I have to wait for my turn. So I have Hellish Rebuke, which is a 1-off per day or per rest, and Firebolt, which I can cast as much as I want.
This creature, Calavene,
Yes, sir.
darts at you. One moment. He comes in with a big swipe. Instinctually, all that training in the arena, you pivot and turn your body as this massive bone ivory talons, almost like each finger, almost like a blade of its own, just manages to just rip past you. You feel the air around the power of the swing. Misses you. You take a little bit of a step back and rebalance. Another one comes in and connects with you across your chest, grating you for not bad. 6 points of damage. As you kind of take the damage, your eyes light up with pain, and this giant barb comes over his shoulder at you. But you just manage to move off enough that it darts past and smashes into that giant stone lotus fountain behind you. Its tail burying and shattering the statue behind you. It kind of recoils its tail back. That thing looks like it can do a lot of damage. You notice too, Tyrius, as the tail retracts past your head, almost like a lightning. At that moment, we cut straight to the imp. Tyrius, what's your AC?
19.
You see this crackling red energy of the imp as it lets out, and it lets out this lightning bolt of fire in your direction. It misses. Whether any kind of way that you either block it or move out the way is up to you.
Yeah, I think I kind of, after looking at it, I see the imp out of the corner of my eye, and I turn as it flies by me.
You watch as this bolt of electricity disappears into this sandstorm that's happening on the other side of the fountain. You both hear a, "Let me go, you witch!" And you can just hear something else is happening on the other side of this sand wall. Tyrius, you're up.
The imp is co-located with the Bone Devil.
Yes, so the imp, my bad, I'll put it on the map, is standing. The imp is further back. He's kind of standing here near the entrance.
Yep, I see him.
So what I'm going to do is I have magic weapon spell, bonus action, time it takes to cast, and it makes for up to an hour a weapon considered magical with a +1.
Awesome.
So I think I'm gonna, so I touch it on magical weapon until the spell ends. It's a +1 bonus to attack rolls, and damage rolls, and it's considered magical. So, use my bonus action, mutter something under my breath, and there's just kind of a bright flash at my hand. And the sword doesn't necessarily glow crazy or anything, but it looks shinier. It looks a bit... The metal looks different. You know, it looks like it's very reflective, and it no longer looks like a standard longsword. And then that tail. Am I able to swing at the tail? Or where is it?
Look, I'll let you have one swing at it as it's quickly retracting back.
Okay. 12.
Misses.
Okay. And I assume the second one, I can no longer swing at it.
Correct.
Yeah. Okay. Second attack. Second attack is a 21.
Hits.
Okay. Okay. So, all right, 21, and then I'm going to use a Divine Smite at second level. So that'll be 3d8s. Okay, so the physical damage from the magical longsword is going to be 8 damage. 16 plus 8, 24. So 24 damage in all, 16 of which is, radiant holy damage, and 8 of it is magic weapon damage.
Copy that.
And after I missed with so I basically did a swipe at the tail, I missed it, and then I came back kind of up and strike across his boned chest.
Your blade connects to his, bone chest, and as, the surface of it being bone, you kind of rattle it, up the rib cage that's exposed. This bone, these bony exoskeleton ribs, and as you come up, you actually chip his jaw as you swipe up, and you knock his neck back, and he just lets out this hiss. Calavene, you're up.
Okay. With all this going on, I'm just a bit wide-eyed and kind of shitting myself. Still young. First time seeing one of these hateful eight, or that I think that's what they're called, from Big Red's speech. And I try and calm down a bit and cast Enrage. And while he's right there, I put one hand on my sword and one hand out in front to cast Firebolt for a 6.
To hit?
Sorry, a 10. Sorry, a 10 to hit.
It's funny, and you have Enraged?
Yes.
So you see it again, Tyrius. This, muscular structure, and these fangs kind of slowly protrude from Calavene, and these white streaks in his hair. And he gains a few inches of height and mass as he just... And you look at this entity, despite all your fear, you harness that bloodlust and that rage.
Mm.
You let your hand up and you unleash this bolt of fiery electric energy. It hits its target and dissipates as if it's nothing. I expected more from the son of Restocravian. And he doesn't even consider you a threat.
With that hit, can I do a perception check if it's immune to fire damage, or?
Go ahead.
A 19 all up.
Do me a quick check and see if Firebolt is considered magic.
And Leroy, while he's doing that, can I do a history check to see if I can remember the name of the wing demon I killed with the party a long time ago?
Oh, I'll give you that for free. No, I'll give you that for free because it wasn't that long ago for Tyrius, but it was for
for me,
yeah.
right. Okay, good point.
Milzina.
Okay.
Okay, so it says here, hurl a mode of fire.
So
make a ranged spell attack.
Okay, so this is where D&D can get tricky because it's like,
Doesn't
is
say
it magic or is it fire? In this instance, it will be considered both. It is a magical attack that I will say can set things ablaze, or if things are resistant, are weak to fire, then I'll consider it. For both of us, so we all know, okay?
I'll read this out a bit more. It says target takes 1d10 fire damage.
Okay.
A flammable object hit by the spell ignites. If it isn't worn or carried, the spell's damage increases by that, but that's up to you.
It's a tricky
whether
one.
It ignites
like I said,
or not.
It's a tricky one because it's debatable. But look, in this case, it doesn't matter because you didn't cast high enough for the AC.
Yep.
But you have a feeling, yes, Jay, to go back to your inquiry. There's something about this creature that was born in the nine hells that perhaps fire is immune.
Would Tyrius know that? Like, would Tyrius know fire is ineffective against these?
Yes, you would just know that.
Okay, so I think, like, after I swung and I see him do this fire, I'll kind of just yell out to him, like, boy, fire is useless against these.
Shit.
It's funny, there's a stoicism to this bone devil. He then, is that it for you, Calavene?
Yep, I can't use second attack.
You guys both notice, and you glance over and you see Tristalan. Multiple arrows just fly as you see bandits running towards you guys, trying to bum rush everybody. It seems Tristalan's keeping them at bay. One of them kicks up on the sandstone floor as he collects an arrow to his chest, and he just tumbles over, knocking someone else over. I don't know how long I can keep this up, fellas. And he's just kind of hitting multiple targets.
He's Legolasing it.
He very much is Legolasing it, dude. 100%. All we need is a giant elephant for him to climb the trunk of.
Yeah, there we go.
and we're good to go.
Leroy, can you say that name again? I forgot to write it down.
Milzina. I'm going to give Pat a point of inspiration, and I mean this. You can have 1d4 inspiration dice for remembering previous lore and story beats that players just don't give a fuck about. I sit there building a world and these enemies and an interconnected universe, and I just want to say the DM is rewarding you and thank you, because that was like 2 years ago for you. So, dude,
thank you very much.
You take that one to the bank, my friend.
I appreciate it. How does inspiration work again?
Inspiration, I'm a little bit different because I like to feel it as a real reward. You can either add it to an attack roll that I don't mind if you add it after the fact, but to an attack roll. And look, dude, because it's such a small dice, add it at some damage if you like to. I don't mind. Okay. It's a fun little reward. It's my game.
Right.
But technically, inspiration, like if I said it was bardic inspiration, it would just be for rolls and save DCs. So, you know what I mean. Right. Yes, you have a flash, Tyrius. You're standing back again in the town of Oak Falls. Your former comrades, the druid, the halfling barbarian, and the dwarven cleric, and also this strange orc that looked malnourished.
Who introduced a bolt to the side of Melzinia's neck, as I recall. It was his opening gambit.
Yes, and Pat went through the standard paladin story of being... You were, what's the word?
Corrupted.
You were corrupted by Milzina.
Yeah.
And you were enthralled for like 5 turns. Yes. I remember because Pat's could not roll any harder into the back of his head every time he failed to break the...
I was like, all right, I hope I don't kill one of my teammates.
But you do remember that was a hard-fought battle and the absolute destruction of the town of Oak Falls under this infernal princess that you later learned was the granddaughter of Mephistopheles.
Mephistopheles, right there, right there. Okay.
Yes, I'll talk to you. I'll talk to you after the session about plans I had with her that just went out the window because campaigns end sometimes. But anyway,
Right.
Yes, you have fought a high-ranking devil before. The Bone Devil is just getting started. It comes in and clutches you by the throat, Calavene, and starts to squeeze, and you feel these talons coming in, and he definitely succeeded. That was a 20, not natural. And he grabs you, and he starts to squeeze and crush your throat. I want you to take 11 points of bludgeoning damage, which in this case
is halved.
A habit that you're going to have to start remembering.
Yeah,
Yep.
I've got it, yep. I have to start doing this shit.
And you look into these dark, sunken, red eyes as he looks over you. And you can feel his hot breath on you as you see this barb come up behind and then lunges at your chest. He was going in. So yes, it hits. For an additional, same again, 11 points of damage as his barb pierces and hits you square in the chest. You feel this as you feel fire throughout your veins in this moment. Oh, okay. You take 15 points of poison damage.
Damn.
As agony racks your entire bloodstream. You can feel it from the top of your head to your toes in an instant. As you see this cruel smile crawl across this Bone Devil's jaw, across his face. 1 second. Make me a Constitution saving throw.
Yep. 15.
You feel the poison coursing through your veins and you focus and you let out that hot steam breath. And it's as if some kind of infernal blood magic within you. You feel the poison as if the pain is starting to reside in your body. As if you've pushed it out.
Interesting.
The imp disappears. Tyrius, you're up. You'll see your friend held by the throat with this giant barb still in its chest.
I'm gonna go for the arm that's extended. I want to come down on it, and as I do, I say in Infernal to him that you will fall as Melzina did before.
On that moment, as you roll, he hisses and turns and makes eye contact with you. How do you know that name? And then you swing.
Right, yeah.
You got his attention. You got his attention.
Yeah, that's what I was hoping for, so. Let's see. So that's +7. So a 20, not natural.
You have a feeling, Pat, with the force that you apply to this ivory bone, like stone skin, that it's just enough force to get through to him. Roll damage, sir.
Okay. So let's see. Here. 1d8 plus 6. Okay, so that's 10 points of physical damage, and then I'm gonna do a divine smite at level 1 for additional 2d8. So not bad. Another 15. So 30 damage in all, half physical, half magical, half divine.
And did you swing for your second attack?
Not yet, no.
Yes, you have to swing for that one, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
That one is a 7, an 11
to hit.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. My D4 won't probably be enough to get it up. Yeah, so I won't use that. I swing my first.
Look, just going forward with Divine Smite. This one, no, you can keep your spell slot because I'm just here to. That's why we're doing these pre-sessions. When you call out, you need to. When you roll to attack, call out Divine Smite included.
Okay, I always thought it could be determined when you hit with a melee weapon. Can extend.
Oh, if that's what it says?
That's what makes it awesome, because you don't have to risk losing.
Dude,
no, it's honestly, it's absurd.
Yeah, you're right. Okay. Yeah. Look, can I be honest? It's been too long since I've got to play my paladin. So, okay,
right,
so not a problem. I get it, because you're adding that surge of power. Not a problem.
Yeah.
I had a feeling that's what it may be. Awesome. Keep that slot. But you hit once, and he retracts his hand. And as you go for that second swing, you only miss because he actually pulls it back, and he looks at his injured arm briefly, and then shakes it off.
And then, okay.
You hear Greytox yet again. You hear this kind of breaking of stone, like these large thunking noises, and you guys kind of see this kind of dust storm, but through the dust storm you see another orange kind of spark of light just come through all of this sand spinning behind you. Calavene.
Right. I'm going for some big damage with the greatsword. Let's see. Okay, natural 19, so 22 all up for the first attack.
Very nice.
And 7 all up for the second attack.
How do you connect with that first hit?
That first hit, as he's had me by the neck, and I dropped to the ground just immediately. Just swing my sword straight up at his chin.
You collect his chin on that first hit, and you actually send him reeling, and he takes 2 steps back, and he kind of uses his tail and his wings to kind of catch himself. And you actually see where you've connected with his chin. You've taken a chip out of his jaw.
Chipped in for 16 points of damage.
Fantastic. Now, Jay,
nice.
Your weapon is not considered magical.
No, it's just a martial weapon. Martial greatsword.
So, he does take damage, but he realigns his neck and refocuses very quickly.
Okay.
And the second one simply misses, as he kind of just bobs out of the way. Very agile despite his size, being about 7 to 8 foot tall. He's still quite very nimble and very swift. Is that you, Jack?
Can I?
Yeah.
I was going to use my bonus attack
to
do a fainting attack.
Yes.
So I choose to target the Bone Devil for my fainting maneuver, which gives me advantage on my next roll.
Copy that.
But it uses one slot.
Yep, of your superiority dice.
Yep,
Copy
and
that.
I add that to my next attack if I hit. So we'll see.
Not a problem. The Bone Devil, Calavene, comes in, picks you up, slams you down into the pond behind you. Down
Quick note.
past. Yes.
While he's grappled me, heat aura, that's fire damage, that won't affect. Because how if a creature touches me, it will heat burn them for 1d4.
Thanks for bringing that up. You get pounded under the water. It's about a foot deep. And you're held
Fountain.
of the fountain.
Oh, yeah.
And all of these, you see, Tyrius, these purple lotuses fly on these waves of water. And you instinctually grab this Bone Devil's claw. And with his next attack, Tyrius, his tail snakes and barbs straight at you. It misses. As you see this big barbed tail just come in at you.
I kind of deflected off my shield.
Tyrius, the sheer force puts you down on one knee, and you look at this heated steel that's been dented. The water around you, Calavene, as you rage and struggle against this grip, I want you to take 12 points of bludgeoning damage as you were slammed, which is halved.
6.
And bubbles and heat start to come off of the surface of the water as you struggle underwater at this point.
An awesome scene in my head.
That's
So
what it's
cool.
all
My
about,
imagination
boys.
is just-
That's what it's all about.
It's going wild.
Look,
So
we
good.
could sit here and say, oh, well done, Tyrius. That was
I
12
know.
points of damage.
You hit him. He takes damage next turn. What's the fucking point?
You have noticed, Tyrius, that this devil is fixated on Calavene.
I noticed that. I'm trying
Yes.
my best to get his attention off him with my mockery and hitting of him with the
Hey.
sword.
You get the Milzina line. You saw something in those smouldering eyes.
Okay.
It's at this moment, Tyrius, as you're kind of look at this indented metal shield of yours, you feel something appear behind you. You feel a hot dagger. Oh, sorry. To hit for 21. You feel a hot dagger pierce in through your chainmail in your neck, and this of this really impish creature that's floating with its wings behind you. 6 points of piercing damage as he sinks into your shoulder in that sweet spot. Again, I would like you to make me a Constitution saving throw, Tyrius.
20, not natural.
You also feel, and you feel this from your heart. And you kind of glance over at this curved dagger of this imp as you see this green liquid pop out. You take another 6 points of poisoning damage, but you feel the divine power within you kind of... You have been trained in this back in the City of Ascension, and it's almost subconsciously the radiant power within you dissipates and just destroys the poison on a
Toxins in the
molecular
blood.
level.
Yeah.
Cleanses yourself. The imp is now standing behind you.
Okay.
Tyrius, you are now up, sir. Oh, just before that, you see Tristalan drop his bow as he pulls out his dual blades and he starts swinging at bandits as many of them are starting to surround him.
Okay.
Calavene, you've seen him under more pressure than this, and he's handling it like a champ.
Of course. Or good old Tristalan. Not worried about him at this point.
And at this point, you do see several bodies as you glance over, Tyrius, behind the imp. As you've kind of looked at the imp, you can see a bit of that. The dust swell continues.
Okay. Unabated?
Yes.
All right. Okay, so I'm kind of down on one knee. You know, he pulls the dagger out of my neck. I stare down at the ground. I utter a phrase under my breath. The sword once again flashes. I have cast Thunderous Smite on my blade. So the next time I make contact with it, it will do boom boom thunder attack. I decide to forego the imp and rather attempt once again to get the Bone Devil's attention. As I stand to attack him, I once again utter an infernal that I know the name Milzenia because we slew her in a faraway town. She died in the mud. And then I swing for him. Yeah.
It's strange. You feel a sense of confidence surge through you, and it's a good burn from the paladin.
There we go. It's a divine burn.
As
right.
Calavene is held underwater,
Yeah.
he glances over at you and in replies an infernal. So you believe.
I see. Interesting. All right. So I'll do... I realize now I'll roll both attack rolls. I realize I'm supposed to be doing that. Sorry that I've not been doing that. Okay. So a 20, not natural,
Hits.
and then a 15. Did that hit or miss? Because if
First one hits.
I'll add my...
Yes, go ahead.
Then I'm going to... I add it. Ooh, I get... so it goes 18 for the second one.
You have a feeling you connect and you are true with your first hit. As you reposition, and you do hit him with that 18.
So,
But
okay,
it doesn't,
at that point...
but it doesn't feel like it's enough force to get through that exoskeleton.
Gotcha. So on the first attack that hit, that's going to be Thunderous Smite as well as a Divine... Sorry, Thunderous Smite as well as a Divine Smite. I'm almost out of spell slots. I only have one more after this. So that'll be... Remember, it's 2d6 of thunder damage. Then let me do my first d8 for the magical damage from the weapon. Okay, 7 plus 6. So 13 for the initial attack. Then the Thunderous Smite is 8 for the Thunderous Smite. And then it's supposed to knock him 300 feet, but, it's supposed to knock him 10 feet. But obviously he's big, so you can do whatever you want with that.
No, what do I need to contest? Look, he's considered large, but I would like to contest this. So what would I need? Dex?
Oh, yeah, sorry, let me check.
All good.
It
Sorry, boys,
is...
just a quick wee.
Yeah. It must do a strength saving throw or be pushed 10 feet away.
Look, because of the situation of him preoccupied as he's squeezing the life out of Calavene underwater, you hit with this tremendous smite. Where were you aiming with this thunder?
Basically, so, because he's like, over him, right? And he kind of glances back at me to say, so you think? And basically, I stand up and I want to come down, if I can, on his face with this blade. And then it was 11 for the Divine Smite. So it's 24 plus 8. So that's 32 points of damage.
Insanity.
Yeah, 32 points of damage. Let's wait for Jay to come back because I like him to hear your cool shit you say. But yeah, when you said sorry, when he was like, "Oh, the Hateful Eight," I was like, "Wait a second, I know what this guy is." I was like,
yeah, man, it's all one universe, baby.
It's honestly like Curious Remembrance. So I just came down on him with 32 points of damage. So hopefully, I don't know if he succeeded in the strength saving throw. So I'm hoping he gets fucking launched. And then you'll be out of the fucking water. I wish I had another second level spell slot but my magic weapon is second level, so I couldn't cast it on your great sword. No, the magic weapon that I did on my longsword. I don't have any more second level spell slots, so otherwise I would have grabbed your great sword and made it.
Right. Oh, that's cool. I don't know much about paladins, so that's a cool thing. I know that they've got heaps of like.
It's one of the cleric spells, basically. So
that's really cool. No, that's right. I think I'm just gonna try and roll high or die.
Yeah.
Tyrius. As the Bone Devil shrugs you off and turns back to his prey, you come to the side of his face as he turns away from you, and you connect with a thunderous smite. Again, you hear the steel connecting with this exoskeleton, with this thwang, and instantaneously, just afterwards, and this force comes out all around in a 360-degree angle like a sphere. You watch as the water around Calavene is blown out of the pool. Calavene, I want you to make me a quick Constitution saving throw.
16.
You're fine, but the ringing in your ears, yet again, from these thunderous smites of Tyrius. But the water is gone.
A sense of
for but a moment.
Gladness when I hear it.
The water parts and comes up from this force of sound. And you see the Bone Devil clearly for a second, your hair wet and matted at the floor of this pool. And within a second, the water comes back and submerges you again. The statue behind, in front of the Bone Devil, what's left of this beautiful structure of this kind of purple and jeweled lotus is just disintegrated and sent forth backwards into this sandstorm and dissipates, left in ruins. More importantly, the Bone Devil is sent flying through the remnants of this statue. As he's sent over the pool, Calavene, you're broken free. As the Bone Devil sent across in between the fountain and this swirling sandstorm. The pool is destroyed. There's all of where the water was holding in. It's starting to leak out. Tyrius, water starts to gush at your feet as this mini tidal wave goes in all directions as you've left this fountain in ruins. The Bone Devil stands up and looks at you, and its face is shattered. The bone has these cracks going in all directions, and the top of his jaw, his facial structure, cheekbone, is missing. And you can see a gaping wound in that skull of his, a hole in it. He says nothing. He looks around. Tristalan continues to battle. He flaps his wings. Calavene, you're up.
I stand up out of the pool, covered in water that's now turning to steam. off of my body as I just angrily just staring straight at this guy holding me under the water for pretty much a full turn. I'm going for my 2 attacks. Okay, a 20, not natural, and a 6 for my second attack, but I got advantage on this one from my fainting attack. So I'll roll again. Okay, I'll stick with my first ones, my higher ones. So I only hit him once, which I'm adding my soup dice to for this one. Alright, so for 22 points of damage, as I stand up with the greatsword in one hand, and I just charge straight from there with like a leaping swing, just like a cross, to hit him straight in like the nose, between the nose and mouth, as hard as possible, letting out like a battle roar, just like straight into his mouth.
He starts to rise as he flaps these massive wings of his that he's unfurled, and he goes to leave and levitate off the ground. You intercept him mid-air with this big battering ram of a charge with your greatsword. You hit true, and you hit in that weakened spot that Tyrius exposed. And
crack area, yeah.
You crack, and you take his half of his jaw off, unhinging it from his face, sending him flying backwards in the air. One of his hands reacts and grabs his jaw as it's loose. He nods across past you, Tyrius. You quickly look over and the imp behind you vanishes. You impress me, son of Restacravian, as he cracks his jaw back in place, this hinging of his jaw. And he darts. With a flap of his wings, he goes up. You can have an attack of opportunity on him at this time.
Can I try and grapple him with my axe chain?
Absolutely.
I attempt to try and grab his foot or his wing with my axe. For a 20, not natural, because it's a dex-based weapon.
You see him, and he goes up, and these powerful wings, just sand that's on the sandstone, just dissipates underneath, and you feel the force of these wings having to shield your eyes. You quickly reach for your belt, and you throw this tomahawk. It manages to intercept him in his ribcage, and it goes into this exoskeleton, and it grabs true. Calavene, are you sure about this?
I've done it, man. I'm trying to keep him from going away. I'm not finished with you. Damn!
You hold on to this chain of this mechanism that was made in the frontier by one of the blacksmiths. And it gets caught up in his ribcage. And he just lets out this... And he's still powerful. Jay, I need you to roll me a strength check, dude.
Here we go. I get advantage on these bad boys.
I have to grab Calavene's feet to keep him from flying away.
20 all up. 17 plus strength.
Calavene, the utter force of these wings, you feel yourself lifting from the ground. As you start to go airborne, you grit your teeth, you exhale that steam from in your body as you use both hands and your upper body strength. And you just pull him down with all your might. You see, Tyrius, these wings kind of go inverted above this creature as he's brought down and slammed into the sandstone at your feet, Calavene.
Then I walk up and I'm like, you've got questions to answer. as I get ready for what's to come.
He looks up at you. One of his wings shattered and broken where he's landed on it. And he kind of... I will never submit to the son of a traitor. And that's where we will end today's session.
Oh.
That was awesome.
Damn, son, that's gonna fuel my imaginative drives home videos. Jeez.
That was really cool.
That was so cool.
Battle.
Fuck you guys, I never know what you're gonna do. It's Milzina 2.0, Pat.
Yeah.
I'm only trying to, warn you of what's coming, and you're like, I'm gonna kill this motherfucker. Come here. Come here, bitch.
Come here.
Hey, man, look, I could have lied to you, man. He only rolled a 15 through his strength check. You beat him. Yeah.
Well,
You're about to go for a ride, bro. Trust me.
Yeah, I was about to say, just alright, I'm letting go, take whatever damage.
Yeah, because I was going to say, and Pat knows this, the biggest killer in D&D is actually fall damage.
Mm.
Yeah.
Even gods can be killed, technically, by fall damage.
Yeah.
God.
But, dude, that was, even for me, I'm like, what's going
Are
to
you
happen?
sure about this?
DM's
You're
got
like, ooh, I'm gonna-
yeah. Oh, Pat, you know this. You got it. Are you sure? Are you sure? Look,
But Axe is in there, man.
you know what? Are you sure is? It's for me going. I haven't planned this. This is going to go where the dice go. All right. Well done, guys. Well done.
That was really cool.
I'm not used to such a hard-hitting duo, man. You guys, look, I've got the numbers here. 10, 24, 10, 8, 32, 10.
Yeah.
He's still very much alive, but you guys,
Right.
I think character-wise, you surprised him.
Yeah.
Especially with your sword, Pat, playing well, by the way.
Yeah, that magic weapon spell was a fucking...
Oh, dude,
that's a
90% of players are like, why is it doing resistance? I don't get it.
Yeah.
And they don't try to work around it. There's usually always a way around it.
If I had another spell slot, I was telling Jay I would have grabbed his greatsword.
Yeah.
But I had expended my second level spell slot, so
Yeah.
But yeah, that was interesting enemy. Bone devil.
Mm,
Cool.
yeah. Greater
Very cool.
devils. They're kind of like hierarchy-wise, they're like a level or two below a pit fiend.
Okay.
So, look, I mean, out of game for a second, he's still very much alive. That was just more of a tactful retreat.
Yeah.
Like a recon, he's got eyes on now. He had eyes on.
Yeah.
And I think, is that the first time you've heard your father's name, Jay?
It is. And it's the first information I've gotten from him at all, that he is a traitor.
Ah. Hey there, I just want to say thank you for tuning into the Kratorian Chronicles podcast, and I look forward to seeing you in the next episode.